What's good, everybody? Welcome to Front Runner Podcast Collective, where we talk like friends, we argue like cousins, and somehow we still leave a little bit smarter. I am your humble host, Vince, and sometimes I am your favorite bad influence, occasional therapist. Today, I feel like a captain on a ghost ship. I am by myself, solo dolo again, but it does not affect this podcast at all. We have so much to talk about. We're going to talk about the San Antonio Spurs, and life without Wemby starts now. We will go over that. We also are going to get into the Clippers and what's wrong, and also what's on the horizon, because that's very important. Speaking of the Clippers, we're going to talk about Clippers past. We're going to talk about Paul George now going to make his debut in Philadelphia with the 76ers and what it all means. The other thing that we're going to talk about is something that is near and dear to my heart other than Paul George, which is reckless trade speculation. You know how much I love it. And to finish it all off, and what all the other last thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to get into something that I caught my eye last night. And I was watching Detroit play basketball, and I really am a sicko. I really am, because I took notes on a point guard that will probably not be the point guard of the Pistons very soon once Cade comes back from his injury, and we will break down Denise Jenkins' night and what I thought of it. So that's what we have in store for you today. Couple things that I want to get off my chest is, one, again, thank you, listening audience, blog readers, for your tremendous support. You guys have really stepped up. There's a lot of you. There's different countries that are just coming in. It's just surprising to me, because when you turn on this microphone and you start doing the podcast, of course you think at some point you're going to reach some people, but to really see who's out there and that they're enjoying the podcast and not just enjoying one episode, they're downloading multiple podcasts. It's just warming my heart, and I cannot thank you enough. My appreciation to you, to our audience, is very near and dear to me, because to me it's like family. You know, you come in, can we get you a plate, get you something to drink, kick it, do our thing. So that's what we try to do here at Front Runner Podcast Collective. We talk about the NBA, and that is what we're about to do right now. And we will start in San Antonio. We will start at the Riverwalk, down by the Alamo. Victor Wembanyama goes down with the left calf strain, and the whole NBA quietly sits in bed with the covers like right below their eyes, type of thing. This isn't just any 7-footer. This is a 22-year-old averaging 26, 12, and 4 with 3.6 blocks. He got grown man efficiency. He's anchoring the top 6 defense, a top 8 offense, and you know what that means. If you are in the top 10 in both categories, you are a bona fide playoff contender. The Spurs suddenly are staring at 2 to 3 weeks without their sun and their whole galaxy that orbits around them. For San Antonio, life without Wemby isn't theory anymore. It's 7 of the next 8 on the road, starting with Phoenix, a team that just punched them, then Denver, then Minnesota, Orlando, and Cleveland. All teams with real playoff agendas. De'Aaron Fox finally gets healthy. Plays a handful of games with Wemby. And now he's looking at a depth chart where Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle, and Jordan McLaughlin are all dinged up too. This is what infrastructure check looks like. You will find out if your system is real without your alien cheat code available to you. I am poor De'Aaron Fox. He gets traded from Sacramento last year during the trade deadline, right? That was as the Luka thing is taking over the world last year. And how could Dallas trade Luka to the Lakers of all teams? You know, everybody was all up in arms about Luka coming to the La. De'Aaron Fox snuck into San Antonio, played a handful of games with Wemby, 5. And now he just came back off an injury, plays 5 more games with Wembanyama, and now Wemby's hurt. My man can't buy some luck. He can't buy it right now. But he gets to show off some of his clutch skills, and we'll get into that momentarily. My question is always going to be this. How good are the others, really? And what does that mean for the next month? What did it tell us about De'Aaron Fox on this team? Because obviously the difference with De'Aaron Fox on San Antonio and the difference between him on Sacramento is this. Sacramento was his team. Right now he's a placeholder for Wembanyama. And how does Mitch Johnson, the new head coach of the San Antonio Spurs, kind of walk that line with him? Wemby, left calf strain, will be reevaluated in 2 to 3 weeks. So that doesn't mean he's necessarily getting on the court. It just means that they're going to reevaluate him, which usually means he's probably out for a month. The 26.2 points per game, the almost 13 rebounds, because he's at 12.9 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3.6 blocks on true shooting percentage of .609. That's a legit MVP candidate. Obviously, we got some all-world candidates ahead of him, but for a 22-year-old just getting his feet wet and understanding what real contendership basketball looks like, those are impressive numbers. The San Antonio Spurs got off to a really hot start. They're 9-4. Again, they have a top 5 net rating, which is plus 6.7. They're 6th in defense and 8th in offense. This isn't a cute start anymore. They were legitimate. And it's really hard when you see somebody who is so immensely talented like Wembanyama go down like this, especially when they were just about to hit their stride with De'Aaron Fox. Now, they had some injuries also that they were dealing with. Those guys would have came back, and then we would have seen what this team could look like. Now we have to put all of this off until probably around Christmas time. We probably won't get to see the best of this team until the end of January now, because you all have to coalesce with one another through this situation. And here's the best part. Life without Wemby is super cold. It's a nuclear winter. Right? When you got 7 of the next 8 on the road, and some of those opponents are Phoenix, Denver, Minnesota, Orlando, and Cleveland, you get no freebies there at all. And here's the best part. We have seen this movie before. Last year, when Wemby went out with the deep vein thrombosis, San Antonio's record was 13-23. Now, do they have much improved depth this year? Yes. Obviously, when you have somebody like De'Aaron Fox, who's a natural born killer, and if you keep it close, in the fourth quarter, he is a difference maker, no doubt. My whole thing is that we will now find out what Stephon Castle is all about when he gets back from his little injury that he got going on too. I don't think he's going to miss games though. I think he's just kind of hoggling a little bit. So we can look at this as a calf strain or a full audit of the San Antonio Spurs and their foundation. So what does life without Wemby look like? What is it that we're about to see that we haven't seen? One, Wembanyama provides the rim protection that nobody else in the league provides. There were teams that weren't even looking at the paint when Victor Wembanyama was in the game. And then as soon as he left, it was like attack the basket like some red ants at a picnic. Cornette is a really good backup center, but he is not built for 30 minutes a game. So let's not even go there. I understand we're not asking for everything out of Luke Cornette, but he is not built for 30 minutes. Now, he can be a capable spot starter. Defensive identity will shift to more scram switches, more team rebounding responsibilities, because you're taking 13 boards away. Offensively, you lose your automatic mismatch. I mean, when you have somebody who is 7'5" plus, it's weird, and he can get you out of so many issues either through his own shot creation or a offensive rebound where he can just throw in his 8'2" wingspan and just tip the ball to himself or out to one of the guards. San Antonio again becomes a Fox-first team. That's great in the short term, in the interim. The one thing that you don't want to do is have Fox be in a situation where he's just carrying the load completely. So we're going to need to see Devin Vassell. We're going to need to see Keldon Johnson, Stephon Castle do their thing and kind of keep this team afloat. There's no doubt in my mind that they have enough firepower to keep themselves in games. The thing that I absolutely am very interested in, that I'm very curious about, is on the defensive end. Wemby was such just a security blanket where if you got blown by, you have a 7'5" standing behind you and nobody wanted to touch the paint. I saw games where teams who averaged like 44 plus points, paint points, were getting somewhere in a range of like 28, 26, things like that. They would go into the paint and just feel like a force field, and they would just back out. Now we're in this situation where it is open season on San Antonio's interior defense, and we are about to see what this looks like without Wemby. So where do the San Antonio Spurs look for leadership? Obviously, we just talked about Fox. Devin Vassell has been there for a while now. So, and he's a great complement piece that you have, and he's going to be able to get you anywhere between 17 to 23 points. He'll have that one occasional night where he just goes completely off. Also, Keldon Johnson's good in that backup role. But head coach Mitch Johnson has to balance accountability for sloppy games versus perspective on injuries piling up. Harper, Castle, McLaughlin, Olynyk, Sohan, and Waters are all in the training room right now. Leadership habits now will decide how this group handles the future playoff adversity. Now, here's some team metrics that y'all need to check this out. This is what they're missing. Wemby's PER, which you know I don't like that stat, but we can use it to paint the picture right now, is 26.5. I told you about his true shooting percentage. Here's the other thing. Wemby has a decent usage. He's 30.7. Now, a lot of that was before De'Aaron Fox got there, so we don't know what that would have looked like. We would have had a better sample size if this would have happened like a month later, God forbid. Now, his total rebound percentage is 21.5. His block percentage, though, 9.9. That is nuclear impact. That is what they've lost. The team has a 118.5 offensive rating and 111.8 defensive rating. That's real contender profile, not noise. Now, what you will get with this situation is that, if Harper can come back from his injury pretty quickly, is that you're going to get real data on Fox-driven lineups with Castle and Harper once healthy. This road trip is a sample size gift for analytics groups. Ugly games, but valuable data. If the net rating stays positive without Wemby, the front office starts dreaming about real depth and not just vibes. The non-Wemby minutes were so important, but we always knew he was coming back. Now we have a real stretch where we have... I think the reason why this is so important now is that we had actual thoughts of San Antonio doing something in the Western Conference this year. Wembanyama made us believe. He allowed us to think larger for San Antonio, and to not have him for a month, and to have this stretch of games where it's legitimate teams looking to make playoff pushes is kind of just deflating to anybody who is a San Antonio fan. Glass half full. It's November. We can relax. He will be back in a few weeks. It's a one-off calf issue. It's not like something that he's, continued to deal with or whatever the case may be. This is not a chronic situation. And here's the other thing. You want to handle this with kid gloves. You do not want to play with this. This is your franchise. Listen. San Antonio has gotten a lot of luck in the lottery previous. Tim Duncan fell into their laps. Nobody really knew anything about Tony Parker until Tony Parker showed up, because he was like this French kid with this American name. Did anybody know who Manu Ginobili was until he hit the scene? But this is different. Because Wembanyama, we can talk about Tim Duncan all we want. We can talk about some of the other San Antonio greats all we want. But here's the difference between those guys and this guy. Wembanyama is a face of a league guy. Like, that is what he is going for. He is talking about true greatness. He doesn't want to be just a San Antonio great. He wants to be an all-time great. So it's a little bit different. So we're going to treat this with kid gloves, make sure he's 100% healthy. This is why I say 2 to 3 weeks is very, very generous. I would expect somewhere in the range of 4 to 5 weeks personally, but we'll see how it all goes. Not to throw cold water on San Antonio Spurs fans. So now the calendar flips, the schedule gets mean, and the alien is in sweats. For the first time, with a real roster around him, we get a clear look at who the San Antonio Spurs are when Victor Wembanyama is nothing but a courtside camera angle. De'Aaron Fox has to carry them through this road gauntlet, and Mitch Johnson has to coach with the training wheels are off. The locker room itself is full of nice pieces, a lot of people that we like. It has a chance to prove that they're more than the Wembayettes. We don't want them to be footnotes in someone else's MVP season. This is where the old Spurs reputation meets the new Spurs reality. Do they stay patient, protect the future, trust the system? Or do they chase early season wins and pretend the risk isn't real? I think right now what you're looking at is that there's no reason for them to make any kind of panic trades or anything like that. Victor Wembanyama's coming back. They pushed some of their chips into the middle of the table last year for De'Aaron Fox. Let's allow De'Aaron Fox to be who he is, which is, like I said, a natural-born killer. Personally, I think San Antonio will kind of weather this storm. Now, are they going to be top 5 when Wembanyama comes back? I think not. We're going to have some ugly losses here. But if they can stay above 500, if they can stay like 4 games over 500, like kind of a little bit where they are right now, well, will put you in a situation where top 6 is still a reality. And you don't have to put your foot on the gas pedal when Wembanyama comes back. You can just play your natural course of business and continue to build the cohesiveness that you have not built yet. Because we have not seen De'Aaron Fox and Victor Wembanyama play more than 20 games yet. They played 10 together. So obviously there's some kinks to work out, obviously. So I am more on the patient side than I am on the side of, hey, let's go all in right now. It's not time for that. Not time for that at all. So San Antonio fans, poor Vita fam, what's your panic meter without Wembanyama? 1 to 10. And who do you trust to step up most? That's something I would like to know. So I want you to send that to Twitter at FrontRunnerPC, or also you can send that to frpcvince@gmail.com. Let me know what's up. And I'm telling you, these responses come in. If they're good, they make the pot. But if they're not good, we can't put mediocrity on the pot. You know that. Speaking of mediocrity, I have some intrusive thoughts that I want to share with the audience right now. Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe have been hooping in Philadelphia. And I have been thinking to myself, now that I found out that Paul George is coming back, do the Sixers actually need Paul George? Or is it just the idea of Paul George? Philly is 7-5 with a top 10 offense. Maxey is dropping 32-8 on big usage. And Edgecombe looks like a real two-way find. He's averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists as a rookie. And we haven't really seen Jared McCain yet this year. Remember, he took off like a phoenix last year. It's been fun. It's been fast. It's been loud. The kind of energy that feels more future than Last Dance. Now, George, fresh off-season knee surgery, and a season where he slid to 16 points per game last year. He was shooting 43% from the field, 35% from 3, below his career averages, obviously. Is walking through the door. Now, on paper, he's exactly what the Philadelphia 76ers need. A big wing, a secondary creator, contested shot maker. He can be a defensive option. We will see on that, on jumbo guards. And here's the thing that I want to press the pause button on. Paul George is 35 years old, coming off a decline tape. And here's the non-zero chance you're getting 75 to 80% of what Los Angeles Clipper Paul George looked like. Because we definitely didn't see it last year. We definitely did not see that last year. We saw a guy who looked slow. He looked timid. He looked like he was thinking too much out there, and it wasn't like naturally flowing for him. And I don't know if that had to do with Joel Embiid in and out of the lineup. I didn't know if that had to do with playing with Tyrese Maxey, and was he comfortable playing with Tyrese Maxey? We had no clue. But I know Philadelphia fans felt like they got sold just a bag of goods. Is it fair to ask if adding an older George slows down Maxey and VJ Edgecombe and their timeline? And also, you know how I love to say this, so if you guys play a drinking game with this word or this phrase, go ahead and pour some in a glass right now, because I'm about to say it. I'm always talking about developmental runway. Now, we know who Maxey is. He's showing himself to be, super great. But who we don't know what he's going to be, we're starting to see glimpses of it, is VJ Edgecombe. And then also Jared McCain. We want to see Jared McCain play basketball. Does Paul George's now availability slow down that process? And Philadelphia fans, 76ers fans, I know y'all don't like to hear the word process. I know that's a trigger word for you. It means a lot of losing, 65 plus losses and things of that nature. I wasn't trying to trigger you. What I was trying to say is that we're in a situation right now where we have three really electric wings and guards out here who are really trying to carve their name into the NBA. And VJ Edgecombe is like in the virgin stages of his development, and as well as Jared McCain, because if I'm not mistaken, Jared McCain played like 32 games last year. So it wasn't like this huge sample size. What we saw was impressive. But is Paul George about to slow all that down? Oubre has a LCL injury, and the wing dip issues make George feel necessary on paper. But if he comes back and he's 16 points per game, low rim pressure, jumper heavy again, do you need that long term? And if you're a Sixers fan, are you looking for just as many wins as possible? Get Joel Embiid into the playoffs, baby him all year, and then unleash your dragon on the playoffs? Is that what you're hoping for? Or are you Philadelphia 76er fan that goes, I believe the children are our future. Help them and make them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they have inside. Give them a sense of pride. Shouts out to the late great Whitney Houston. You know what I'm saying? Now, what I mean by all of this is that, again, I like the version of the Philadelphia 76ers that is featuring VJ Edgecombe. I want to see Jared McCain. And I want to see this new improved Tyrese Maxey, who's out here doing his best Allen Iverson impersonation. Just play the hits. Play the hits, damn it. Now, what I will say, Maxey is playing 40 minutes a game. Okay? That is a lot. He's also at a 30.9 usage rate. And his recent 28 for 74 shooting stretch shows fatigue. So, Paul George coming back, being that guy who can kind of slow down the offense a little bit, be like, all right, we're gonna get a real good shot, could be a welcome sight for our guy Tyrese Maxey. He can run pick and roll, hit pull-ups, keep Maxey from driving into a wall nightly. He also plugs the small forward hole created by Oubre's injury. And we know the Tsunami Poppy was getting it done. He gives Nick Nurse a little lineup flexibility because he's 6'8", 6'9". He can play that 4 spot or the 3 spot. It's dealer's choice when it comes to that. But I am still wondering about last year. Was last year just basically an image of what is to come? Is that what we should expect out of our guy from going forward, Paul George? Or can he get closer to Los Angeles Clipper version of Paul George? Only time will tell. What we don't want to see is this. We don't want to see Paul George turn Maxey into a floor spacer. That is not what we want to see. Maxey's touches per game and Edgecombe's usage once George is back, I'll be very interested to see what that looks like. Paul George is a veteran, no doubt. He will help the younger regime, like i.e. Jared McCain and also VJ Edgecombe. He can help Edgecombe learn about off-ball reads, pacing, and how to live in a star market like Philly. So he can be a good, valuable vet. But if we're asking West Coast 35-year-old coming off knee surgery, if we're asking that dude to be Superman, it might be a big ask. It might be a real big ask, personally. And here's the thing. The culture of the 76ers is Tyrese Maxey now. I think we saw that last year when they had the players only meeting and Tyrese Maxey spoke up about Joel Embiid and said, hey man, you need to get to places on time. You need to get your shit together. Because you are our leader and you are not leading by example right now. I think with his improved play, obviously when you're averaging 32 and 8, you're the number one. Like there's no question about whose team this is at this present time. Now, Paul George can mess up the chemistry, or Paul George can be additive. It all depends on what role Paul George wants to be in. Now, here's the best part. He has played with dynamic guards before, or dynamic wings before. He has played with Kawhi Leonard. He has played with Russell Westbrook. So this is nothing new. Paul George being like the leader of a squad, that has not happened since he left Indiana. So he understands what a complement piece looks like, and he has played that role to a T. Now, my question is, can he regain some of his physical attributes that left him last year? Because even before the knee surgery happened, we saw a very watered down Paul George. And it looked scary to me because I was like, man, did this dude just hit that old person wall? Because I think we've been spoiled as NBA fans to see Steph Curry play into his late 30s and just be dominant. And also LeBron James, who I'm going to get to a little bit later, play, he's in year 23 now, which is ridiculous. And he's still like a 24, 25 point per game type of dude. We'll find out. We'll find out tonight. Little tease. Now, here's the other question I have about the 76ers and Paul George. Does Daryl Morey use this as a live tryout? Is Paul George still a near star or just a large salary glue? If George looks like Clippers year 2-3 for 30 games, do you ride it out and push in all your chips? Like I said, are we just kind of manicuring the season to get Joel Embiid to the playoffs and then unleash him? Or are we trying to pivot? Now, this all blows up in your face if this is last year's Paul George. You know what I'm saying? This is last year's Paul George. We're kind of like, we're in no man's land. But Maxey and Edgecombe's growth gives Philly leverage. They no longer are beholden on to aging superstars. They do not have to care about Joel Embiid's feelings anymore. You know, Paul George, when he was signed or when he got traded to Philadelphia, it was a big deal last year. We thought, oh, wow, this could be a real big piece. And if they could just nurse Joel Embiid to the playoffs, which it didn't happen, that's another story. But I saw the vision, what they were trying to do last year. I saw it. Like, okay, so we get Paul George. He's a vet. He definitely understands how to play a complementary role. He will be able to be a great confidant to Joel Embiid and give him a second side action type of dude that will be very dangerous to deal with. Now, we got VJ Edgecombe. Now we got this new version of Tyrese Maxey. And those guys, they're great. So, it got me thinking. If Paul George is 80%, 85% of himself, like the cold version of Paul George, are you able to trade him in February and get pieces back? Because let's be honest, I understand that Joel Embiid's contract will probably be really hard to move. I'm not saying it is impossible, because we've seen Luka get traded, right? We have seen Bradley Beal get traded and tossed around, and whatever the case may be. Pause. I got it. I understood what I just said. But we've seen all this, and yet and still things happen. But when you have the foundation of Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, and I'm very high on Jared McCain and what he can shoot like and what he can provide for the 76ers. If somebody was willing to take on Paul George because they just needed that veteran wing, if he's looking more like PG back in LA days, I wonder what Daryl Morey's move would be. Again, we saw the drop off in percentages in his field goal shooting and his 3-point shooting last year. But I'm also, with Oubre out, I'm kind of going like, Maxey, he can't give you more than what he's giving you. We saw this with Nikola Jokic last year, where he was putting in 42 to 44 minutes a game. And as soon as they took him off the court, the lead would just go away. It would just evaporate. And now you're in this situation. But Paul George, even in a more diminished role, in a diminished state of what he used to be, can still provide you some buckets. He can still provide you maybe a little, headiness on that second side creation vibe. And if the floor is tilted towards Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, maybe you don't have, obviously, the better defenders on Paul George. Maybe you have lesser defenders on Paul George, and then he can go to work. He can cook. Well, that's the hope in Philadelphia. I will hope that. I think that's the hope. But again, I believe in the kids, and I want to make sure that the developmental runway for these kids stay open. I hope that Paul George is just an additive piece to what is going on with Philadelphia, and not, hey, you're coming back to be the savior. And here's the thing. In Philadelphia, you guys know a lot about high salary role players. You had Tobias Harris on your team. 76ers fans, is it too soon? Is that y'all still sensitive about that? And the line is this. You are building a Maxey-first era. You're not chasing one more poster of an aging co-star. Understand that. We moved on. So 76ers fans, what do you think? Is Paul George, is PG a trade deadline dude if he's 75 to 85% of what he used to be in his prime? Let me know. Hit me up on X or Twitter, however you like to call it, at Frontrunner PC. That's where I'll dwell. That's where I want to be listening, looking at your comments to this situation. Let me know. Also, let me know, like, the first words, if you're talking about Philadelphia, right, and what's going on there. Also want to know, which is the Philly cheesesteak that y'all really get down with? I want true Philadelphians to let me know. Is it Pat's? Is it Pat's? I need to know. Now, speaking of Paul George and speaking of his old team, we need to get to this Clipper situation because it's very intricate. And so we're going to really dive into what's about happening with the Los Angeles Clippers. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people are sitting here like, Vince, you really about to do a segment on the Clippers? You god dog right I am. You know why? I'll tell you exactly why. Tell me if you haven't heard this one. At some point, if they ever get healthy and stops being analysts and becomes denial, okay? The 2025-2026 Clippers are 4-10. They are 25th in scoring. They're 23rd in net rating, and it looks like they're already running out a who's who on the injury report. Kawhi Leonard, day to day, knee, whatever they like, rest. This guy, we'll get to him momentarily. He's missed the last 2 weeks with the ankle and foot sprains. They're 1-6 without him. Bradley Beal, season-ending hip fracture. And now Derrick Jones Jr. Their 28-year-old starting wing, shooting 53% and guarding the toughest perimeter guy every single night, is out for 6 weeks with a MCL sprain. Now, the NBA's oldest team is now down another under 30-year-old body, still asking James Harden at 36, Nick Batum at 37, Brook Lopez, and Chris Paul. Hello. Like, Brook Lopez is like 36, 37 as well. Chris Paul is 40. He is dusty. Okay? He is dusty. And hanging all over the Clippers is the ghost of trades past. And you might hear the glee in my voice. I'm not going to hide it. I'm a Laker fan. I have never liked the Clippers. I have never supported the Clippers. I will never support the Clippers. I always talk about the Clippers leaving Los Angeles. Why do we need you? And then they built the Intuit Dome. You know what I'm saying? That's a nice place. I can't front on the Intuit Dome. It's very nice. So what goes on? Here's the thing. They're 4-10. I told you about the ugly numbers that they got going on. I told you about what's left in the cupboard. Guess who owns the Clippers 2026 first round pick? You guessed it. It is the number 1 team in all of basketball. It is also the reigning, defending NBA champions, your Oklahoma City Thunder. Man, think about that. In the summer of 2019, when the Lakers are sitting here thinking that they're trying to get Paul George, actually not trying to get Paul George, they were trying to get Kawhi Leonard. Now, by the way, tell me if you haven't heard this, right? We've been talking about all the salary cap circumvention going on with Kawhi and his group asking for a ton of stuff and everything like that or whatever. And then Kawhi says, hey, if you can get Paul George, I'll come to the Clippers, right? And little did you know at the time, Los Angeles Clipper fan, the 4 or 5 of you that are out there. And I know y'all listen to this podcast. I know y'all do. So, Vince, you really shitting on my team right now? Yeah, I am. I'm sure I am. You know why? Because here's the Paul George gets traded from Oklahoma City, Sam Presti, doing magic again. Magical things. Not only did he trade Paul George for a boatload of picks, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you say, well, we know this, Vince. Why are you bringing up old stuff? Because here's the thing. If the Clippers are going to finish as a lottery team, and we know that the odds have been flattened, could you imagine? Like, I know myself, Vince Carter, very not looking forward to this. But could you imagine, as the envelopes are opened up and one of the top 3 envelopes say the Clippers, which means it says it says Oklahoma City. Could you imagine what that's going to look like? They already got Shai. They already got Jalen Williams. They already got Chet Holmgren. We got people coming out the woodworks. We got AJ Mitchell. We got Aaron Wiggins. You know what I'm saying? We got people who aren't even playing this year. Thomas Sorber is a center out of Georgetown who's basically getting a redshirt year because he hurt his ACL. And, oh, by the way, he gets to watch Isaiah Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren do their thing for a year and then just implement it into that system. A top 3 pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder would probably be the equivalent of Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors circa 2016-2017. Yup, I said it. And I stand by it. I stand by it because we cannot have Darren Peterson. We can't have Cam Boozer. Nor can we have AJ DeBansta going to Oklahoma City. Now, Oklahoma City fans are probably sitting there going like, Vince, why you hating on us? I'm not hating on y'all. But Adam Silver talks about competitive balance. Adam Silver talks about parity. You know what blows up parity? Y'all lucking up into a top 3 draft pick. That's what blows up parity. You guys are already sick good. You guys are disgusting good. You don't need AJ DeBansta. You don't need Cameron Boozer. And you damn sure don't need, I guess, the second coming of Kobe Bryant and Darren Peterson. I know that sounds sacrilege, Laker fans, but all reports are is that we got one. We got a 6'5", 6'6" guard who works on craft, who works on skills like to a maniacal level out here in Kansas. Just saying. The record is 4-10 right now. I talked about their 23rd net rating. By the way, it's negative 4.9. Now, when Kawhi does play, it's 24.3 points a game on 62.5% true shooting percentage. But they're 1-6 without him. Again, it's the oldest team in the league, and they don't have any outs. They don't have any. There's no way out of this. They can't. I don't know what you'd have to give up to try to get that pick back from OKC. What would you have? You don't have anything to give them. They're gonna like, oh no, we'll just take this 2026 pick. You don't have young talent that is like diffused into your system where you can say, hey, OKC, we'll give you, dude. Can you give us our 2026 pick back, and then we call it even? No. Now, Zubac is awesome still. Harden's gonna have to be great again. Now, Ty Lue, who is the coach of the Clippers, he called Derrick Jones Jr.'s impact. He said everywhere. Says a lot. He did the grind work the stars don't do. Kawhi's situation with the ankle and foot sprain ramping up. I know the Clippers are so tired of using that phrase when it comes to Kawhi Leonard. Ramping up on the trip, but no firm timetable. Have we seen this movie before? This seems like every Fast and Furious movie we've ever seen. I'm going to say it again. The Clippers put out a statement that said Kawhi Leonard is ramping up from an injury, but no firm timetable. Yo, tell me this doesn't look like every car chase in Fast and Furious. We're going to get like a dramatic slow turnaround from Vin Diesel as Dominic Toretto. Tell me that you don't see this when you hear no firm timetable. So it's on Zubats and John Collins. Those are your lob threats. Those are your guys who are going to have to get it. They're going to have to play outside their bodies for the Clippers to drag themselves out of this hole. You got to hope and pray that Kawhi Leonard shows up sometime soon and can play for a prolonged stretch of time. That's the other thing with this, is that we played like 13, 14 games. Guess what? He's played in 6 of them, missed 7 of them. That's crazy. This is what they've been doing every single year since this trade happened. Since Kawhi Leonard signed on the dotted line. This is what's been going on. I feel bad for the Clippers organization in one way, that they've been held hostage by this situation since he got there. But I'm going to tell you right now, what I do not feel bad about is Sam Presti absolutely fleecing you, and he continues to just cash in dividend after dividend on you. And you know who knows a lot about dividends? Our guy Steve Ballmer. Because he gets $999,999,000 worth of dividends on Microsoft every year. So you know who I don't feel bad for? Steve Ballmer. I do not feel bad for Steve Ballmer. One last bit. And by the way, can't wait. Are we gonna get some kind of finality, some confirmation on this salary cap circumvention, or is this thing gonna be gently swept under the rug? Because I wonder if this becomes almost like the NBA. Now, when I say this, I want people to understand that I'm not saying it to be controversial. I'm not saying it for like clicks or whatever, but I'm saying it just tonality. Just listen to the tonality. I wonder if this turns into being the NBA's version of the Epstein's file. And what I mean by that, and I understand that's a delicate subject, but what I'm talking about, this is also a delicate subject. If all the NBA teams have to open their books to Congress, all bad. All bad. I'm telling you right now, nobody wants this. There is not a team, there is not a franchise in the NBA that wants to turn over their books to the government. So where do we go from here? What does Lawrence Frank do? Well, there's a couple things to think about. One, and this is one of those things that I'm definitely going to put 10 toes down on. The Clippers title window is closed. Not because of hate, because of the time. Age, injury, and the numbers all point in the same direction. Tough out, not a contender. Guess what? We don't even know if they're going to get to the playoffs this year. That 2026 first to OKC is the perfect symbol that you mortgaged your future and still came up short. The years have passed. OKC won this trade. The franchise can either chase one more imaginary run or start building something that can last. Here's the thing. Let all these contracts, Kawhi's contract, Harden's contract, let them all end. Steve Ballmer got a ton of money. Go invest in young free agents and see if you can start building from there. I think after this 2026 pick, I think actually the nightmare is over for the Clippers. I hope it is. Then you can get back to the business of building your franchise the right way. I still think you have the people in the building that can do that. I think Lawrence Frank is a very smart guy. But man, did y'all take y'all medicine on this deal? I told you I had something special for you at the end of this. So I'm watching some basketball last night, and I am watching the Pistons play without Cade Cunningham, and I'm going like, let me check out this kid that everybody's talking about, right? So I checked out Denise Jenkins, who played against the Indiana Pacers last night, and I took some notes. So I hope that you guys enjoy it. I'm going to tell you my thoughts on my guy right now, and then we'll go from there. Now, the line that he had was pretty impressive. He scored 26 points. He shot over 50% from the field. Now, three-point shooting lacked. He was 1 of 5 from three-point line. He was 3 of 4 from the free throw line. He had 8 assists. He had 4 turnovers. He also had 4 personal fouls. But he was a plus 23 in box plus minus. Okay? That's ridiculous. We like that. So let's get into it a little bit. Pistons are shorthanded. Cade is out. Ivy is still out from the knee surgery. Asur Thompson was out. So Jenkins was out there being the primary guard, just doing his thing. It's like, listen, there ain't nobody left. It's just you. Now, obviously, this is a team in the Pacers who also have their injury issues, right? We got no Tyrese Halliburton until next year. So this is not the true Pacers that we usually have come to know and love, right? So I do want to take that into consideration. But the Pacers play hard. They don't not show up. You know what I'm saying? I know the records doesn't really reflect that, but they don't have any center, right? You know what I'm saying? Like Andrew Nembhard trying to do it. Our guy Aaron Nesmith is trying to do it, but right now, it's hard. It's hard being a Pacer fan right now. So I want to talk about what he did in this game that kind of impressed me. What I did see is that he had a really good connection with Jalen Duren in this game. They ran high pick and roll several times. It was the bread and butter. You see this all over the second quarter and the fourth quarter. So there was an empty high pick and roll with Duren in the second quarter with 11:05 to 9:25 stretch. There was a missed drive at 11:52 and 11:07 led to Duren putbacks because he was getting to the rim. My guy Denise Jenkins was getting to the rim like on a real level. Now at 9:47, my guy threw a lob to Jalen Duren that almost shook the building. And it also was an and one. Then he got the ball to Jalen Duren again for a reverse dunk at 9:25. Now, with 8:36 to go in the second quarter, there was a straight line drive for Jenkins, layup. Then at 8:05, there was a pull-up, both triggered, high screen, cross matches, confusion, and the Indiana defense looked cooked. Now, also, I told you, winning time. Okay? Winning time. Fourth quarter. We'll talk about this a little bit later. But he did major work. Now, he also faced some adversity in this game. Jenkins likes to push off live stops, turnovers, and he gets into early drag pick and rolls. First quarter with 5 minutes and 17 left to go. Running layup, fast break running layup after Green and Jenkins combined for a steal. Second quarter, multiple sequences where he's attacking before the defense is set. Even if he misses, the tempo tilts towards Detroit, and Doran cleans up off the glass, because Jalen Doran is an absolute murderer on the glass. Okay? This dude is giving us vibes of... He's giving us like old school vibe, Ben Wallace vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love what Jalen Doran is doing right now. Fourth quarter, 7:57 left to go. Fast break, running layup from LeVert pass for a 105-91. It was a classic hit ahead. Re-engage the action. Now, slot drives and short pull-ups. Mid-range game. Does he got one? For sure. First quarter, early pull-up misses 14 feet. Right? He hit a 3-point step back. Over-eager shot selection. I didn't like that. Second quarter with 2:32 to go. 13-foot pull-up after reset, because he's like, yo, I'm going to get downhill. I'm going to stop on a dime and then rise up and drop this 13-footer. Third quarter, 11:02 to go. 8-foot fadeaway. Cash. Money. Fourth quarter, 8:36 left to go. 5-foot floater. Flow game. On tilt. Then he had a 10-foot fadeaway with 6:06 to go with a driving finger roll to go ahead and culminate that situation. He is real touch in the 6 to 15-foot band area. When he gets 2 feet in the paint, he can score oversized, which is great. But you want to see as plan B counters when the roller is taken away, not early clock shot bailouts. You want to see like a better plan. Like, if the plan A is taken away from you, we need to have a definitive plan B. Now, this takes time, right? So I'm talking, in a sense, both sides of my mouth right now. But what I'm trying to say is that this is where the improvement comes in. This is where it's like, okay, if you really want to be that guy, you really want to be that dude, you got to have a counter to the counter, something that I always say. He does take a couple early shot clock threes that I'm not too thrilled with. It looked a lot like D'Angelo Russell, and you know how I have a problem with D'Angelo taking 3-point shots with like 19 seconds to go on the 24-second clock. You know how I can't stand it. With 3:52 left in the fourth quarter, he hits a big 23-footer 3-point off a kick out to re-stretch the lead to 17. So, showing some clutchness. You know what I'm saying? I like that. We're going to get to the 8 assists. Because this is where, if you got to understand, K is the dude. Okay? We know who runs this squad. But, you know what Detroit has been looking for? Is they've been looking for a backup point guard for a minute. Right? So, let's talk about some of these assists, because he had 8 of them. First quarter, 7:59. Drive, kick to Stewart for the 3. What this shows is that his ability to get into the lane, which he definitely makes it a point to get purposeful paint touches. And you know how much I love that, because what do I always talk about with the paint touches? What does this mean? If you're in the paint, the defense is going to collapse around you. Now, if you have the vision, or you have the infrastructural knowledge of where everybody's going to be on the court, it makes these passes super easy for you. And it looks like Jenkins does that. 5:17 fast break layup himself after disruptive he helped create. So what that means is that my man's out here getting the ball, turning it over, making the guard look stupid, dropping his pants, and then getting down the court, getting in, and just hit ahead layup. Love that. First quarter, 4:41 to go. He hits Reed on a driving layup. Good read, good cut by B-Ball Paul. Second quarter, 9:47. High level timing with Doran on a lob, reverse dunk. Sweet. Second quarter, 7:43 left to go. Hits Stewart on a short roll, dump for layoff. So basically, he gets into the lane. Again, we talk about the purposeful paint touches, right? We talk about that. The bigs surround him. What does he do? He doesn't panic. He drops it off. Gets the layup. Love that. Third quarter, 9:54 to go. Hits a lob to Ron Holland II. My guy loves to throw lobs. And good on him for the anticipation. Good on him for the touch on that pass. Love that one. 4:30 to go in the third quarter. A hit ahead to Green for a fast break layup. These are the type of things that people love to play when you are talking about somebody who is additive. When you're talking about somebody who's a connector, these are the type of plays that you want to see. The hit aheads up the court are easy money points that a lot of people, because we are trying to show our bag work, right? We're trying to show our dribbling skills. I'm going to put it behind my bag. I'm going to put it in between my legs. No, sometimes it's the easiest stuff. The hit aheads. Hit aheads, easy points. Let's get easy points. Let's go. It's hard to score the basketball in the NBA. We got a lot of athletes out here. Fourth quarter, Don to Green again. Back cut, dunk. That just shows his vision on the court. It shows his ability to go ahead and share the sugar. It also goes ahead and understands the anticipation of your cutters. Understanding the offense. Fourth quarter, 5:41, last assist. Oh, man, the pocket timing passes to Doran. There was two of them. One with 5:41 left to go, and then one with 4:44 left to go. He hit Doran with two dimes within a minute period, and they were both pinpoint excellent. And what did they lead to? Dunks. Because you know my guy Doran was going to go ahead and hammer those home. So those were the 8 assists. He's just a connected piece, and this is where I'm real excited about what Detroit is going to look like when they're fully back together again. You know what I'm saying? When all the Jackson 5 come together and they start doing A, B, C, easy as 1, 2, 3. And then, you know what I'm saying? Then you get the rhythm, you get the harmonizing, everything's real good. You know what I'm talking about. If you're young and you don't know what I'm talking about, that's what Google and YouTube is for. Now, he looks like a real pick and roll table setter, not just a scorer. He looks comfortable finding rollers and cutters and shooters because he understands the offense. The paint pressure and the rim finishing is crazy to me. He had 26 points on 21 field goals. That's not very, very efficient, but the shot diet was heavily tilted to the paint. Layups, floaters, short pull-ups, that was where he lived. The Pacers never really put two on the ball effectively. When they tried it late in the fourth quarter, he split or quickly moved it to another person and then relocated, got the ball back, and then continued to run the offense. When he decided, I'm getting downhill in the second and in the fourth quarter, when he was trying to put his stamp on the game and then also put the game away, Indy struggled to stay in front of this cat. So against a depleted defense, Jenkins functioned as a primary downhill engine that is translatable to second units and some starting groups. Now, you want to talk about composure. Okay. First quarter, technical foul with 7 minutes to go. Right at that point in time, he is 0 for 3 from the field. He also got into a little foul trouble. So the game started off in the mud for him. Instead of disappearing, he shifts his approach. He stopped launching threes. He gets into the paint, forces help, feeds Doran. Then he starts scoring once the defense shifts. Fourth quarter, after early turnover foul stretch, he answers the Pacers' run with 8:36 floater, 8:24 free throw trip, 7:57 fast break layup, 6:52 to 6:06 2-point creation, and then the dagger 3 with 3:52 left in the game. You're seeing volatility, but also resilience. He gets hot, he gets mad, but he's able to recalibrate and still run the team. This is called what I call a competitor. This is what I call a dog. Again, the decision making. He had 4 turnovers, some of them were loud. Second quarter, 9:07 left to go. There was a backcourt violation. Okay, come on. We can't do that. Fourth quarter, 11:16, live ball turnover versus pressure. Well, what do you expect, right? 9:03 in the fourth quarter, offensive foul triggers Bickerstaff Tech. Fourth quarter, 1:58 left to go, late out of bounds turnover. You want to simplify late clock pressure reads, more automatic outlets during short rolls, Robertson handbacks, rather than Jenkins just out there dribbling and getting into his bag work. But this comes with time. His jumper selection, he's going to have to work on his 3 work, because he shot 3 threes early in the game, and they were awful. But when he needed it at 3:52 in the fourth quarter, he cashed it out. So that shows me like just poise. It shows me that the willingness to go ahead, like, I haven't had a great shooting night beyond the 3-point line, but I'm still not scared. I'm going to shoot this ball. And let everybody know that I'm that dude. Now, his green light is because of all the injuries. Obviously, if everybody was healthy, or most people were healthy, he probably wouldn't have got 26 points, and he probably definitely wouldn't have shot the ball 21 times. But my thing is that, I like the Lakers, whatever case may be, but how many times do you see your team, right, whoever that is, whether it's Cleveland, whether it's, some of these teams that are struggling right now, the Charlottes of the world, the Washington Wizards of the world, things like that. How many times do you see a guy get an opportunity and you're just like, man, just show what you got. And they're like, oh, I'm going to be, I'm not going to be decisive. I'm going to go ahead and push the ball, and, I'm going to get it to the other guys, and whatever the case may be. Not Jenkins. Nah, he was like, oh, this is my opportunity. I'm going to take full advantage of this opportunity right now. Gotta love it. And he knew the roster was short-handed. No Cade, no Ivy, no Asur. He needed to scale up his game. He needed to get his usage up, and he did. And he took the challenge onto himself. I gotta like that. Now, we're gonna talk a little bit before we get out of here about Jalen Duren. Jalen Duren is going to be an all-star this year. Book this. Okay? He might not start, but he definitely going to be an off-the-bench dude. 31 points. Okay? I understand this against Indiana. And I understand they don't have a center. They like a donut. They got a hole in the middle. I got that. 31 points. 12 or 13 shooting. Most of them dunks and layups. He got to the free throw line 11 times. He had 15 rebounds. He had 5 offensive rebounds. 3 assists because he did the short roll, kicked it out. He was a plus 20 in box plus minus. Oh, and by the way, I only played 28 minutes and 34 seconds in this game. His season advance through this point, he is 26.4 in PER. His true shooting percentage is .705. His free throw rate is 61.3%. His offensive rebound percentage is 16.5. His defensive rebound percentage is 27.2. His total rebounding percentage is 21.9. His block percentage is 4.0. He has a decent usage at 22.7. And this dude has a strong box plus minus and win share profile. Let me tell you something. Jalen Duren is turning out to be this dude. He's a high-end rim-running vertical spacer with star-level efficiency and elite rebounding, trending towards a primary interior hub instead of just a rim runner, because some of those passes that he was making were expert passes getting out to the corner shooters. And he seems to hit them dead in the hands where they like the ball. So he's not just this big ogre thug that's sitting in the middle. No, this is a nuanced guy. Now, is he going to be the offensive focal point when the team is shorthanded? Absolutely. Is he going to be this when Cade Cunningham gets back? No. But to know that you have this guy who can put up 20 plus easy money, if you can keep a helper near the nail or the rim at all times, it opens up the three for Robertson and Lanier and Holland. His screening and his two-man game value is sick. He sets solid physical screens. He creates genuine separation for Jenkins and or Cade Cunningham when available. Now, here's the best part about this. He's going to set these screens like this, and if Jaden Ivey can come back, and Jaden Ivey is the speed merchant that he was when he left, do you understand what kind of dunks we are in store for when Jaden Ivey is going down the lane and there is no center there? Do we understand what this is about to be like? Detroit is 12-2, folks. This is the leader in the Eastern Conference right now. We talked about Cleveland. We talked about the Knicks. We talked about other teams. Milwaukee, they got their roster restructured and all this. But you know who's leading the East? Your Detroit Pistons. So, I'm just letting everybody know Detroit is real. We don't have to worry about this too much longer, which is great. I love it. Y'all should love it too. And then now, we are going to do something that we always do. The best part of you is you. Surround yourself with people who give you light, insight, joy, and accountability. Appreciate them out loud. That's your real wealth. And if you are still trying to find your tribe, know this. You got one here with us at FRPC. Until next time, keep your mind sharp, your heart open, and your circle tight. I'm Vince. I'm out. Deuces, ooses.